What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we're going to talk about 33 photos from the Ghetto. This is a documentary, an HBO documentary that just dropped, and I don't know why it didn't drop with audio description. That's an interesting proposition for Warner Brothers Discovery, HBO. I watched it, and it's bizarre because it was listed as being an HBO premiere. And I've seen other things that weren't necessarily HBO premieres they ended up picking up and running with, and they still put audio description on them. Things like Prime Minister and it's all over now. Jeff Buckley, which came from other companies. So I don't know where this came from or how it came to be HBO if they acquired it, but since they did, I think it was a responsibility to put audio description on it. And it's really hard to be harsh on a documentary about the Holocaust. I acknowledge that, but this is what I do on my channel, is to talk about accessibility. So I can't just not talk about it. At the end, I can reflect it in my grade, but I'm sorry I have to be critical for a moment here. The movie's called 33 Photos. It's clearly about something that's visual, and when you never reference the photos for the blind and low vision audience, it becomes a little bit like a diet experience. Like I'm only getting part of it, like I've got the appetizer, but my entree never made it to the table. So, um, you know, I it's also dubbed, which is even more frustrating because that means that somebody commissioned something knowing that there was that there were subtitles. I did double check just to make sure that it's not like a built-in narrator. The film is listed as being primarily in English, but also featuring Polish with English subtitles. And I think there was only one phrase that might have been in German, um, that wasn't dubbed. And I think they probably did that for effect. But I also don't understand the purpose of that, because if you're dubbing it and you're expecting people to read it, I don't understand this. The concept of dubbing only eludes me as a blind person. When I was sighted, there was so much shame around using dubbing for anything maybe outside of animation. Because with animation, at least you can have casts. There's a debate. Even the purists of animation would say you could still watch it with subtitles, but at least with animation, you can come in and be like, "Oh, it's a Studio Ghibli movie with Christian Bale," and then you're like, "Well, we went all out for this." We didn't use AI audio description, like AI dubbing, like what was that fish, banana fish thing that's on Amazon, where they got caught using uh, AI dubbing, and they got trolled online. Um, so yeah, I mean, the thing about dubbing is, you either you if you need well, if you're using it just to be lazy, like if you can see the text and read it, like you're fully literate and you don't have like a learning disability that would preclude you from being able to comprehend it, then it's lazy. You're being lazy. If you do need the dubbing, it is either because you can't read the text because you're blind or low vision, or because you're illiterate or have a learning disability that prevents you from being able to process the text that's on the screen, which is fine. That's part of the population. But for people who can't read, I would say those people should be forced to have audio description with it, because chances are, if you can't see text on screen, you might also be missing other details that the audio description could be picking up for you in any given project. So it's just about you sort of giving into acquiescing the fact that you have a visual impairment that requires you to use assistive support that people with visual impairments use. If you can read the screen, great. If you can't, you might want to relinquish the fact that you would also benefit from audio description. Theretofore, I don't have to have awkward conversations like this on a Holocaust documentary about photographs. So, I don't know what the photographs look like, but I did watch the whole movie around them and learn the story. There's quite a bit of talking in and around them. I thought it was a very meaningful experience. And we hear a lot of stories about what it was like inside the Polish ghetto, how that happened, how they walled it off and forced the Jews to stay in this zone, believing that through either through starvation or disease, they would slowly kill each other off because the the Nazis were fucking sadistic assholes. Legendarily. God, why anybody would ever want to champion that is just run from anybody who ever is like, whoa, they had a point. Run fast. Whoever that is, if you're related, you're thinking about dating that person and they show any of those sympathetic tendencies, run. That is not a good person. That's the kind of person that probably was exploring the idea of, oh, how many ways are there to skin a cat? I heard that there's a phrase. There's more than one way. I guess I'm just going to have to keep skinning cats until I find out. I have a very low opinion of anybody who's anti-Semitic and neo-Nazi. It's a heartbreaking documentary. I mean, there were things that were said in this that even without the audio description, that of course, this documentary is terrific. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to come in hot so we can talk about accessibility, because otherwise, what's the purpose of me being a blind film critic if I'm not like, where's the audio description, HBO? Why? Why is there dubbing on this? Why did you go halfway? But yeah, it's a tremendous film, and I was deeply moved and affected by it, as I am by nearly every single Holocaust movie I've ever seen, except for Life is Beautiful. I think is the only one that I've ever been like, what on earth is this man doing to the Holocaust? I know, Roberto Benigni, I'm sure the Italians love him. I cannot stand that movie. I think it's the only thing about the Holocaust that I would give, that's supposed to give some sort of a, I don't know, positive representation is not the right word here. Empathetic representation is probably the more, yeah, I can't do Life is Beautiful. I can't do Roberto Benigni. I don't know, his Pinocchio was terrible. Anyway, that's just a sidetrack. But this is, yeah, I mean, you got to know what you're in for when you go into this, sighted or blind. I think even blind people, I review films like this. People are like, why do you review films that don't have audio description? It's like, because some people, they have very specific tastes. They also watch films with their family. And you can be blind and Jewish, and you may be interested in this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this may be something that you want to experience with your family, and HBO just fucked you over on your lack of audio description and accessibility. But you're going to do it anyway. So I'm here to tell you realistically, yeah, it's going to suck because you don't know what the photos are. But you'll hear lots of meaningful conversations, lots of recounting of things that people remember from that period, which are tremendous, horrifying, resilient. There's so many different things and experiences and stuff that people did to survive. Heroism, standing up and fighting back, and just tremendous things that people saw and experienced. Death everywhere. It's a hell of a documentary. So it's weird that it's quietly being dropped in February on HBO Max, or I guess it was at the end of January. It's like a weird time for this documentary to just quietly land on HBO in the middle of award season when people are like, oh, what were the 2025 documentaries we're supposed to be watching? I hope it doesn't get lost. Um, I feel like HBO in 2024 had one of the finest documentaries of that year with The Commandant's Shadow, which was another excellent documentary about sort of generational trauma and how the sins of parents or the lives of parents and their pain and suffering can be passed down, and how we deal with that. And if you haven't seen The Commandant's Shadow, I absolutely fully recommend that. That was my favorite documentary of 2024, tied with another uh, documentary against anti-Semitism, We Will Dance Again, which I thought was also incredible. So, um, yeah, I guess there are still stories to be told, and no matter how many times you hear them, um, it's really hard to mess this up. I'm sure it can be, and I'm sure there are projects that I'm thinking of where it's like, oh, you use the Holocaust for that? Like, oh, God, what on earth are you doing here? Um, but this is not that. I thought this was tremendously effective. I feel uncomfortable going above a 9 for a film that doesn't have audio description, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Uh, I, I mean, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a chunk of the film that I don't understand or can't appreciate because I was not afforded the accessibility for it. So we're going to go with a 9 out of 10 fresh on this. And that's being very generous for a film that didn't meet my accessibility needs, but at the same time, it's about the Holocaust. I mean, that's there's only ever one. You know what I'm saying? It's you just say it and people don't go, "Oh, which one?" So it was, which one did you did you mean? Sort of like when we had World War One, it was originally just called the Great War because they thought, why would we ever do that again? Hopefully, we don't have Holocaust 1 and Holocaust 2. Um, let's keep reminding people of why that's a terrible fucking idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the other side.